A Burning World by TheMightyPay. These flames that wreath the world are no ordinary flames. They are flames with a spirit. They are alive with a malicious force. They kindle hatred and fuel fear, wrought with deadly intent. Shantee and Tabby Katyan must discover the Porpoise behind the raging fires before it blackens their once beautiful world completely. Table of contents, at least first 3 chapters, there's many more. 1. Flames with a spirit. 2. The burning bush. 3. El Hela. Now, a little background about this story, just so you know. I started this book when I was 13. When I first got my iPad, it was like, oh, there's notes on this. I'm going to write something. What do I write? I started with emojis. I started with a boy that was running and some fire, and I was like, this is a story. So I wrote a first sentence. Since then, it has annoyed me, frightened me, and I nearly gave up on it completely until my mother gave me advice. Just leave it for now, set it aside, work on anything else you want, just leave it. So I did. And only a few months ago, a good few, but this year I'm pretty sure it was, I suddenly felt inspired to do more on it, to change a whole lot of it and completely rewrite it, kind of saving the theme and the characters and the general feel of it, but taking out everything that annoyed me pretty much. And here we are. There are 3 chapters written and many more in creation. It's good to have work that I already wrote most of and then can just fix and change because it already has a baseline and lots of great sentences and things. And it'll have 22 chapters, I've decided, plus epilogue. And we will get there eventually. We will cross those bridges when we meet them without burning them. And there we are. So stay tuned. First chapter coming. A Burning World by TheMightyPay. 1. Flames with a spirit. I've been running through fire for 2 days and 2 nights. Running is my specialty. I don't tire easily, but I know I can't keep it up. I check my internal temperature and groan. Much too hot. 3 days, maybe 4, that's all I have. I can tell that's all I have left. My pace quickens considerably. The scroll in my satchel feels heavy and very present. I just hope I can reach our meeting place in time. The flames don't bother me much. I feel the burns licking their way up my skin, but they can't burn me unrecognizable like regular humans. But I'm too hot already, and if my core catches fire, I'll be in real trouble. Who am I? My name is Shantee. I'm a gifted one. There are special people in the 7 spheres who are born with a special set of skills. Nobody knows how many exactly, but there have been thousands of talented gifted ones over the centuries. Mine, tirelessness, speed, and some trivial yet surprisingly useful things like tying knots and making nuts or fruit fall off trees and things like that. Gifted ones also come with a unique animal companion, which are called guides, who bond with the gifted and can speak to them telepathically. Grace is mine, but she's away helping my father, who needs her. The underground caves, which we are using for a refuge from the fire, have been blocked for years, and he needs someone as strong as Grace to clean them. 3 days ago, I received a letter. 3 days ago, I received a letter, delivered by a gust of wind. It was signed, A Helpful Spirit. It contained valuable information on the Lord Balthazar, the evil king of the Lanky Islands. Fudge, I said it again. I hate that. I'm going to take that part out. It contained valuable information on Lord... It contained valuable information on the Lord... Well, it's hard because I corrected that name, but it hasn't gone into it. I can... Laugh for a minute. Let's take a minute to laugh. It contained valuable... Okay, you stop laughing so I can stop laughing. It contained valuable information on the Lord... It contained valuable information on the Lord Ravagę, the evil king of the Lanki Islands. I decided Tabby needed to see it. I decided Tabby needed to see it, to ask if her permission. Why is it so hard? I decided Tabby needed to see it, to ask her opinion if the information was valid, and my father agreed. Tabby Katyan is a big name among the Seven Spheres, half feared and half worshipped. You don't mess with Tabby unless you have a serious problem. And I do. So I reached out to Tabby and asked for her advice. I sent her a message through a wind spirit, and she sent it back with the message to come as soon as possible. We haven't seen... These little things. We haven't seen each other in many months, what with my intensive training and her holy tasks, but I've missed her of late, and any excuse is good enough for me. So I set off. I haven't stopped since I started 2 days ago, and I won't stop until I reach my destination. The sun is setting behind the large red clouds of ash. Smoke chokes the air. It gets steadily darker, and still I run on. The night finally gives way to dawn. The day slips slowly by and steadily turns to night again, and still I run. My throat is parched beyond belief, and the flames tickle me uncomfortably, but stopping isn't an option. Our meeting place is the tall tower-top hill, east of the Kerr Mountains, and overlooks Monstrum Bay. It was our favorite place in all of Mithra when we were growing up, and the hours we spent there, playing, practicing, and exploring, are uncountable. We didn't technically grow up together, but we've trained together since the age of 7. Tabby has lived all her life in her mother's kingdom. She has always been strong on this point, but most of her time was spent at Hill House, where my father protected the north border of Mithra and trained the gifted ones. I was 6 at the time of her training. I was 6 at the time that her training commenced, and being too young, the gifted were trained at the age of 7, as a rule, to learn myself. I spent every day I could watching her training. She was a wonderful student, very astute, poised, and ready for anything. She was a wildcat, my father used to pat. She was a wonderful student, very astute, poised, and ready for anything. She was a wildcat, my father used to say after practice. After that first year of watching, I finally took my place beside her and the other gifted. It was an honor to be gifted, and I thank the 7 sons every time I think about it. If I hadn't been born gifted, I wonder if I hadn't been born gifted, I worry I never could have. It's a bad-looking sentence. If I hadn't been born gifted, I worry I would never have met Tabby and won her friendship. Training had been very hard. Tabby was so much better than me, not only because she was older, but because she was much better at paying attention and never made a wrong move. I was all klutz. I knocked things over, tripped, and bumped into people all too often. If he hadn't been my dad, I worry he wouldn't have kept teaching me. But it was all worth it, those long days spent training with Tabby. My father quickly found that Tabby is more patient. My father quickly found... I need to read these slower. My father quickly found that Tabby was more patient with me than the other gifted, and so we worked together most days. Tabby, I'm coming. I hope I can reach my destination soon. These flames that wreath... Wow. That was written differently. These flames wreathing the world are no ordinary flames. They are flames with a spirit. They are alive with a malicious force. Force? They spark hatred and fuel fear, wrought with deadly intent. I worry for the regular humans of the world, who stand no chance of surviving the terrible heat. Towns I have already passed through are vacant and silent, but they retain an eerie aliveness, as if the spirits of the charred still live on within the flames, bitterly. The fire started 3 days ago, a sudden, uncontrollable eruption that turned the whole world into an inferno. We don't know how or why, but we do know, thanks to the letter, that it was Raven's foul hand. That it was by Raven's foul. That it was by Ravagę's foul hand. I'm gonna reread that sentence. No, it's Ravagę. His name is Ravagę. The fire started 3 days ago, a sudden, uncontrollable eruption that turned the world into an inferno. We don't know how or why, but we do know, thanks to the letter, that it was by Ravagę's foul hand. I smell burning pine. I must be close. My heart leaps. Nearly there. Around a tight bend, up a long flight of crumbling stone steps. I'm in the smoldering pine thicket now. Oh, so familiar. Up and over a bridge spanning a dark chasm, around a corner, up some more stairs, and at last, I'm at the top. End of chapter 1.